Hey, welcome along to a new video. This is a story time episode. Very quick one. Trying to recall the whole situation around it. This is going back to probably 1987, I think, 86, 87. I wasn't that old at the time. I was like 7 or 8 years old. And I was at an event one evening, a youth event, a youth club. And as kids, you want to be involved in everything. You want to be part of the group and whatnot. You know, a lot of us, when we're kids, we don't really make friends that easily, especially whenever there's a bit of an age gap. And the year I was born, it's a very, very small town. I've lived in all my life, essentially, other than the few years I was married and away. But very, very small town, so there was a bit of a generation gap whenever I was born. There's not many people my age around this area, and you know, whenever you were going to like a youth group sort of thing, me like a 7 or 8 year old, like a lot of the people that run that group were probably 10, 12 years old, something like that. So they didn't want to be hanging about with the young kids sort of thing. And we all want to be involved. We all want to be liked and whatnot. So, you know, I remember getting upset as a kid because, you know, these older kids were not like brushing me off, but they weren't letting me be part of the group sort of thing. They weren't letting me play games with them and whatnot. I remember getting kind of upset about it, and I went to talk to my father about it. And that's back in the days before I made the mistake of not talking about some of my problems, but that's another story for another time. So I remember going to him. Now, the youth group I was in was part of the church that we run at that time. He was the caretaker. Him and my mum were caretakers within this church, and he took it upon himself to, you know, look after the youth club from a distance whenever it was on. You know, the youth group had the youth leaders on there, of course, but he would come down in the evenings to make sure we were all safe and well. And he would, you know, take up like a guard post outside of the place just to make sure there was no funny business going on, kind of a backup for the leaders and whatnot. So I come out clearly upset. He catches it on straight away and he's like, "What's up, son?" And I explained the whole thing, you know, 7, 8 year old kid, and I'm just like, you know, kind of hurt that these other kids weren't letting me be involved in the games and whatnot. And he sits me down in the car with him. This is after the youth event, youth club was finished. And he sits me down and he says, "Son, do you know what? Don't ever force yourself into a group. You know, if people can't accept you for what you are, you know, that's their loss. And don't let it upset you." You know, that's something that I've kept with me these years. Like, you know, it's to this day, for the most part, you know, I'm just like, you know, I turn up. You don't get a fake version with me. You get essentially what I'm giving you here is essentially what you get in real life. I don't believe in sugarcoating myself for anybody, and it all comes down to that piece of advice that my father gave you. He's like, don't force it. You know, the people that's going to be your friends and people that are going to, you know, give you the time that you want, they're going to come and they're going to accept you for who you are. So don't feel you have to be someone you're not just to fit in. So don't even worry about it. So that was good advice, and here we are. That was, what, 1986, 87, whatever it was. Here we are in 2025, and I'm now giving you that advice as well. So, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that was the first story to come out here. I was actually going to tell a different story in this episode, but I started that, and it kind of bounced off this, so I thought we'll have to do this one first. But I think it's a universal thing for all of us, whether you be that 7-year-old or the 37-year-old or 47-year-old. There's certain aspects in life where you want to be accepted by people at, whatever age you might be. You'll find a situation where you feel you have to change who you are to be accepted by a group of people, and that's a very unhealthy thing to do, really, at the end of the day. Because once you do that, and I've got another story about that as well, and we'll get to that in due course. I'm going to try to go through the time frame of stories that I've been thinking about over the years, and this series of videos. We will get to that eventually. The problem with, trying to change your personality to someone you're not just to be accepted by other people, is if that situation changes, there's a point in your life where you're just going to look in the mirror someday and just like, who the heck are you? I don't even recognize you anymore. So honesty is the best policy moving forward in life for everything. Whoever you are, make sure that's the person that you project to the people around you. Don't fake anything for the sake of friendships, relationships, any of it. And yes, great advice from my father, God rest him. So that's going to do it. Swift little video for this evening, and we'll get into one tomorrow that is a doozy. So I'll see you tomorrow.